Hello, friends. Welcome to your reading lesson for today. We're going to keep going on our Apple kind of unit today. Last week, we talked about a story that talked about apples all around the world and how to make an apple pie with all the ingredients from around the world. Today, we're going to do a story about real apples and learn some more information about apples. So I'm going to share my screen and we are going to get started. Alrighty, so last week we talked a little bit about, like we said, we talked about the story, how to make an apple pie and see the world, okay? Now let's look at this cover of this story. Let me see if I can put it this way. Oh, perfect. Look at this picture right here. It looks like something is a little different than this one and this one. Okay, we read this story, we talked about a lot of different places. And then we have these two books here. This one's called The Bad Apple, and this one is just called Apples, as you can see. Now, I want you to look and see, is there anything on here that you notice that's different about these? Okay, I want to have you take a pause and see if you can think of something that's different about the three of these pictures. Okay? Go ahead, take a pause. Okay, now you're gonna press, upside down, you're gonna press play. Think about these three books. As you can see, this one looks like a real photograph. It looks like a real photograph of apples. Like I could take this apple out of there and I could eat it, right? But I look at these two, and these two look a little bit different. This one is different because that apple has eyes. Do apples really have eyes? No, apples really don't have eyes. So that makes this story right here, fiction. Fiction means fake. What is that word? Let's do it together. Ready? Fiction means fake. And you might have learned that in kindergarten. If you know that, awesome. Let's do it together. Fiction means fake. And how I know that it's fake is because it's got eyes, or it's got, it looks like someone's drawn it. I can't take that apple out of there and eat it because it wouldn't be a real apple. Where the other picture, that looks like an apple that you might find on your apple trees. How many of you have apple trees? I have some. Well, I don't have any in Oaks, but I have some in my hometown. My mom has some. Love to pick apples. So we're looking at these three, and this one looks like a real one, and the bad apple fiction is fake because of the eyes. Now, another reason you might know that a story is fiction is it looks like the pictures were drawn. It looks like someone took a marker, took a crayon, or painted the pictures. This one looks like someone made those illustrations, and the same with this one. If you look at that person, it doesn't look like a photograph, like someone took it with a camera. It looks like someone drew that. So we're going to go back and look at these are our two words that we're going to learn about today. Fiction is fake or made up stories. Fiction is not real. And other ways that you can tell that it's fiction, it's got illustrations like we talked about, like our first grade words, not pictures. They have illustrations. They have some illustrations. They have some characters. We talked about how a character is a person or animal in a story. So whenever they have a person or an animal that doesn't look like a real photograph, it's going to be fiction. Another one is you have things that are pretend. If we looked back on that story about the bad apple, what made it pretend? The eyes. Apples don't have eyes. Whenever they have things like dragons or creatures that have eyes that aren't real, if they have like pigs flying or plates that have eyes on it and that are talking, they have like cars that are talking, things that are pretend, that's another clue that it's fiction. Another is they have a setting, and we know, want to do it with me, ready? The setting is where the story takes place and when. I wish I had my wash on there, but if it has a setting, if it has a true setting, that's another clue that it's probably fiction. So fiction is fake. We said fiction is fake. It tells us a story, makes us laugh, ha ha ha, and it keeps us excited. It means that it makes you want to keep reading it because it might be funny. It might be a really good story about something that's a mystery, or maybe you're just waiting to see what happens. Okay, so let's get our mirrors. Are you ready? Fiction is fake. Your turn. Fiction is fake. Tells us a story. Tells us a story. Makes us laugh. Ha ha ha. Makes us laugh. Ha ha ha. Keeps us excited, right? Keeps us excited. I forgot, has illustrations too. So let's do our 4 clues, right? Mirza, fiction is fake. Fiction is fake. Illustrations makes us laugh, ha ha ha, makes us laugh, ha ha ha, and keeps us excited. Keeps us excited. So those are the 4 ways that we can know that it's fiction. Now I have this other big word, is nonfiction. Now when I think of nonfiction, I think of things that are not fake, things that are real. And it says nonfiction books teach us information and facts. That means just things that are real and true. Nonfiction is real. So when I think of nonfiction, they have photographs. Remember, it looked like I could take a photograph and I could take that photograph and it looked like I could eat that apple, right? That was a photograph, someone taking a picture or a photo. Or real things that happen in our lives. If we have a real holiday like Valentine's Day or Christmas, real animals, if it looks like you took a photograph of the animals, or sports, or jobs that other people might have, or cars that run, buses, schools, anything that's real is nonfiction or gives us information. And so people usually read nonfiction books to get more information in their brain, so that they have lots of facts in their brain about something. So when I say nonfiction, you're going to kind of nod, means that it's real. Nonfiction is real, gives us information, lots of facts. Ready? Mirza? Nonfiction is real. Information, lots of facts. Information, lots of facts. I hope you're doing these with me because I remember them more when I'm using my hands and I'm talking out loud, right? So, Mirza, ready? Nonfiction is real. Information, lots of facts. Your turn. Nonfiction, information, lots of facts. It's real, right? And we have a lot of real books that we've seen. So I'm going to show you this one, and I want you to think. What do you think? Which one is fiction? Remember, fiction is fake. Those two have the same fiction, fake, and nonfiction is real, right? Nonfiction is real. So right now you're using your finger, point to the one that is nonfiction, right? It's nonfiction is real. Point somewhere. Ooh. If you pointed to the caterpillar to the butterfly, that one is nonfiction because it looks like it has a photograph of a real butterfly and a caterpillar. Looks like someone took a photograph. Why do you think they write that? Why do you think they wrote that book? To make us laugh? Ha ha ha. Or to give us information, lots of facts. Yeah, they wrote that one to tell us all about a caterpillar and a butterfly. Now, if I look over here, which one do you think that one is? Fiction or nonfiction? Fiction or nonfiction? Well, let's look at our clues. Fiction is fake. Does it look like it's a fake caterpillar or a real caterpillar? Definitely looks like a fake one. Did it look like someone drew the illustrations or took a photograph? Yeah, definitely looks like someone painted that one. Looks like it's painted, right? So those are our 2 clues, but just by looking at the cover, we haven't even read them yet. So that gives us a clue about if they're fiction or nonfiction. And we'll be looking at lots of nonfiction and fiction books throughout the year. So like we talked about last time, we have our 2 fiction books that are fake. Our clues are that they have illustrations and they have things that can't really happen, like an apple with eyes. But now we're going to read our new nonfiction text, which is all about apples. Why do you think the author wrote this one, all about apples? I'm going to give you a few minutes to think. Why would an author write all about apples? To give us information, lots of facts, right? They want us to learn. They want us to learn all about apples so we can be experts at the apples, right? So now we're going to read our story. Our nonfiction text is apples. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. And we are going to read this story, and it's not like an actual story like Mrs. Roberts would read in class. It's kind of a story that I have on my computer, just as good though. We know that this one is nonfiction because it looks like someone took a photograph. Looks like those are apples that you can get right off of a tree. Okay, now one thing that a lot of nonfiction books, nonfiction, information, lots of facts, make sure you're doing it with me, good. They have what's called a table of contents. This tells you where to find certain things of the book. So if I want to know what are apples, I'm going to go to page 1 right here. If I want to go to an apple orchard, I'm going to go to page 2. They're going to tell us all about apple orchards. If I want to go to the parts of the apple, I'm going to go to 3. If I want different kinds of apples, I'm going to go to page 4. Now, what is on page 5? Let's see if we can read that. An apple a day, an apple a day. So I wonder if I want to know if I eat an apple a day, what's going to happen? I'm going to go to page 5. We also have some interesting facts here. You go to page 6, and the glossary, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is on page 7. So if I want to know specifically where to go, I can look at my table of contents. A lot of nonfiction books have those. Okay, it says, what are apples? You notice that's the top of our book at the top. It's not the title of our book, it's just the name of the chapter that we talked about. It says, apples are some of the world's most popular fruit. They are healthy, delicious, and all over the globe. There are over 7,500 different kinds of apples. Some of them are red, others are yellow or green, and some with all 3 of those colors. One thing that they have in common is that they are all grown on trees. They're all grown on trees. So let's go back. When we talked about nonfiction, they're real information, lots of facts. I want you to pause the video, think about some of the facts, something that you learned from that page. Go ahead and pause. Press play again. Okay, some of those facts that they gave us information, they told us that they grew on trees, they told us what colors they were, and we're going to learn more facts as we continue on our story. All right, here we go. There are over 7,500 or 7,500 different kinds of apples, and you can find them all over the globe or the world. Now we want to go to, if I want to learn about apple orchards, what page did we want to go to? It's on the bottom, page 2. So apple orchards, remember, like a big farm. It says, apple trees take about 5 to 7 years to mature enough to be able to produce apples. Mature means that they have to be ready to be picked. If they're not mature, they're going to be really little, and they're probably not going to taste very good because they're not done growing. So they need about 5 to 7 years to mature enough, the trees do, to produce the apples. So if I was going to plant an apple tree, would I have apples that right away? Would I have it that year? Mm-mm. Would I have it the next year? Mm-mm. Would I have apples probably the next year? You have to wait 5 years before you get good apples that are ready to eat, because the tree has to grow tall, but it also has to mature about 5 to 7 years. Each spring, apple tree blossoms. A blossom is a flower. Inside the flower, there are seeds that can eventually turn to apples. In order for this to happen, bees need to pollinate the flower. After pollination, the blossoms fall off the tree and the apples begin to grow. It takes about 5 months for apples to be ready to be picked off a tree. So the apples actually start out as a blossom or a flower. So apples don't don't start as just little round fruits. They start as a flower, and then the bees come and they pollinate, which means they go into the middle of the flower and they pollinate the flower. That means that then it's ready to fall off so that the trees can get apples. So they start as a flower, the bees have to come, and then it can turn into an apple. It takes about 5 months. So 5 years for the tree to be ready, and then after that, it's 5 months. So it takes a little time for the apples to grow. This one is parts of an apple. It says, have you ever seen an apple cut straight down the middle? I have. A great way to look at parts of the apple, if you leave an apple sitting after it's been cut, it will turn brown. It will turn brown and kind of gross. We don't want to eat that once it's turned brown, right? This is because the flesh is reacting to oxygen in the air. Did you know that 80% of an apple is water? So most of an apple, when you're eating an apple, most of it is water. And we have all the parts of the apple, like the leaf, the stem, the flesh and the skin, the seeds, and the core. So the flesh is the inside that you eat. I used to only like the flesh. I didn't like the skin, so my mom would take the skins off and I would just eat the flesh. Now that I know that a lot of the good parts of an apple are part of the skin, now I've been eating more of the skins. Okay, we're gonna go to the next one. This says different kinds of apples. Apples vary in size, color, and taste. They also have different purposes, means they're used for different things. Fuji, Granny Smith apples, Red Delicious, and Yellow Delicious are the most popular for baking, like apple pie or apple crisp. It says Gala apples are crisp and sweet, which makes them great for apple cider, something to drink. Jonathan, McIntosh, and Winesap apples are known for making applesauce because the flesh is softer. So there's certain apples that are good for certain things for apple cider or applesauce or apple crisp and bake things that you need to bake. Now, if you don't have those certain apples for those things, does that mean you can't make them? No, that just means that it might taste a little bit different, but it still will taste good. It says an apple a day. Remember, if we wanted to go to page 5, that's what we were going to find. What if we wanted to know what happens if I eat an apple a day? It says there's a popular saying that says an apple a day keeps the doctor away. Has anyone ever heard of that saying? My mom would always tell me that saying. It says, do you think there's truth to this statement? Do you think that's true? An apple a day keeps the doctor away? It says apples are very nutritious, so they keep us healthy with nutrients like vitamin C, potassium, and fiber. Did you know that many of the vitamins in your apple are in the skin? So if someone wants to peel an apple for you, tell them no, thank you. Remember what I told you? My mom used to peel all the skins off, but that's where all the nutrients are. So when we eat apples, we want to try to eat the skin too, because that's what gives us all the nutrients to keep us healthy. Does that mean that if we don't have the skin, does that mean that we're not getting any nutrients? No, that just means that a lot of them are in the skin. So we want to make sure that we try to have a little bit of skin when we have our apples. So do you think that they're right? An apple a day keeps the doctor away? I think they're meaning that if you have an apple, you're getting some of those nutrients to keep you healthy so that you wouldn't have to go to the doctor. I don't know if you actually had an apple a day, if you would never have to go to the doctor. I've never tried it. Just an old saying. Here's some facts about some apples. China produces more apples than any other country, not even the United States. China is the biggest producer of apples. Apple trees can live up to be 100 years old. Now remember when we talked about it takes 5 years for them to mature so that they're ready to have apples? That's the most important part because then they can live to be 100 years old. So it's good that it takes them 5 years to mature. Now, apples are members of the rose family, which means that, remember, it starts as a flower and then it turns into a fruit. The best way to pick an apple is not to pull it down. I've actually had this happen to me, but you actually twist it at the stem so then it just kind of falls off. If you rip it off, you're actually hurting the stem, which can then hurt the flesh and the seeds and everything inside the apple. Takes 36 apples to make 1 gallon of apple cider. Apple cider is one of my favorite things in the fall. Okay, now here is our glossary. It says A glossary, it just tells you some of the hard words in there. So we talked about the flesh. If you want to go to page 4, if I go back, let's see, I'm going to go back to page 4. See if there's a word flesh in there. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Flesh, flesh, flesh. I don't see it on page 4. Maybe if I try, oh, let's try. Oh, there it is. You see flesh, it's a little bit darker because they want us to know that's an important word. Okay, so let's go back to the glossary. We've got oxygen, produce, that means to make, and purposes, the reason for doing so. A lot of nonfiction books have, they have a glossary if you have some hard words that you're not sure what they mean. Okay, so that was our story about our apples, and our apples have lots of different facts. That those weren't just all the facts about apples, but lots of facts that we've learned, because when we read nonfiction is real information, lots of facts. So that's why we have our information in there, to give us lots of facts. They didn't want to really make us laugh. They wanted to have our brains grow. So we have lots of information about apples. When I think of an apple, I think of the flower that blossoms. I think about a flower that blossoms. 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 If you know the 2 sounds at the beginning of the word blossoms, I want you to give me a thumb up. Blossoms. What's the first sound of blossoms? B, with an L. Our blend that we're going to work on today is bull. B-L. So we are going to do a blend. A blend is 2 letters that are right next to each other that say their own sounds. So we hear the B and we hear the O, but we kind of put them together like bull, bull, bull. Can you practice with that? Bull, bull. Now I want you to think, do you know any words that start with that bull sound? Think. What I want you to do right now is I want you to pause. I want you to think of as many words that have the bull sound at the beginning. Okay, we're going to come up with some words that have the bull sound, like blossom. And any ideas? You can just shout them out of the screen right now. Let's hear. Oh, that's a good one. I didn't think about that one. I didn't think about a lot of them. Let's see if we can think of some more. Okay, I have these. What are those? Those are blocks. Your turn, say it. Those are blocks. Starts with a B-L. Here's the next one. What is that thing that they're laying on? A blanket. Your turn. Ready? Blanket. B-L. We will notice that B's got a belly. It's got that belly in the front. If you're ever confused, B has a belly. Oh no, what's going on here? That's the fire? No, fire doesn't have a bowl. Hot doesn't have a bowl. What would it have here with a house? Blaze. The fire is a blaze. Blaze. Your turn. Ready? Blaze. B's got a belly. There's that blaze in there. The next one. Oof. Ouch. What is that red stuff that comes out if you get a scratch? Blood, right? Blood has that bull in there. Say it with me. Blood. Good job. Next one. Oh, what's going on with this one? Looks like someone has something over their face, like a blindfold. Raise your hand if you've ever been in a blindfold. I have. I've had a blindfold when I was playing with a piñata. How many of you ever probably had a piñata and you had to be blindfolded? Blindfold. Your turn. Ready? Blindfold. Oh, I gave you this one. What is it if when you put all those things in this it looks like a cup and you put them all together so that they kind of make like a juice? That's a blender. Blends up anything you put in there to make it so it's not full, it's kind of into a juice. Oh, what's this? A bottle? Oh, well, bottle. Can't be a bottle. What is that a picture of? Looks like a lightning bolt. Let's see. Bleach. So this is what they use to clean things so that they kill all the germs. A lot of cleaning supplies have bleach in it, and it helps to clean things and disinfect things. Bleach. Your turn. Ready? Bleach. And a lot of people might use bleach too to get really tough stains out of clothes. If you got like a grass stain or you've got chocolate pudding on your shirt, some people might use some laundry soap that has a little bleach in it because that helps get things nice and clean. Okay, one of my favorite ones. Remember that apples start out as a blossom. They start as a blossom. 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 Good job. I think we have a few more. Oh, they're painting. Oh, they're not paint. They are painting, but what are they painting with? Paint? No, we need something that's Oh, look at that color. It is blue. Blue has got our in there. And this kind of goes with blue. What kind of fruits are these? Blueberry. And what are they doing here? Oh, bubbles. Bubbles. Doesn't have the bull. But what are they doing with those bubbles? Blow. They are blowing those bubbles. They are blowing those. Good job. Blow. Your turn. Blow. Excellent job. So now you'll see as part of your assignment today is you are going to make a blend book. And this will be the front of it. You're going to put your name on there. And this one says BL Brainstorms. You're going to try to think of as many words that have the bull in there. And this one says color the pictures that begin with the bull and cross out pictures that don't have the bull. So let's just look here. Let's look here. Globe. Globe. Nope, put an X. What about blindfold? You got it. So you're going to color that one, and then the globe is going to have an X. So you'll have your BL little booklet that you're going to make. Now, this wasn't all of it, but I did just want to show you kind of what your BL blend worksheet looks like. And this one you're going to draw where it matches, looks like blood. You're going to go with blood. And then this one on the bottom says write a sentence using one BL word. You can try your very best, right? Okay, so that looks like that's the end. So what you're going to do today, now that we've read our lesson, or we've done our lesson, what you're going to do is you're going to do your BL worksheet. And tomorrow we're going to be working a little bit more on our BL blends, but also with our story, with our nonfiction story. So we'll do a little bit with fiction and nonfiction. So we read our 2 fiction and nonfiction stories, and you're going to be working on your blends. So have fun with your blends, and I'm excited to see pictures of your worksheets. Have fun.